Thank you for staying with us on Consider This. Melisa and Sharaad here with you this evening. Now, here's what we want you to consider tonight. Depression in the elderly. A few days ago, it came to light that Brazilian football legend Pele has become depressed due to his poor health and inability to walk unaided. Now, this was revealed by his son, who says Pele has become reclusive and does not want to be seen following complications with his recovery from hip surgery. His limited mobility has caused depression. Now, depression often occurs in elderly patients who suffer from other medical conditions and disabilities, but I have to say, it is not often talked about.
You know, I think when we see something like this happening to somebody whose renown is really global in many ways, and for many decades, and I think continues to be a hero to many people, especially people from my generation, seeing this man age, I think is a difficult one.
Right.
But it also reminds us that we're all potentially, if we live long enough, going to encounter the challenges of growing old.
Right.
And so that we can't ignore what happens to the people who come before us who are now facing it. And the fact that that somebody is successful and who's valued, acknowledged, like Pele, can actually fall into depression is something astounding in some ways.
But I think, also, life after professional sports, there is a certain loss of identity, right? Especially after losing mobility. He's one of the greatest players that has ever lived, meant to be widely considered one of the greatest players of all time, and once an imposing figure, but now unable to walk unaided. And I think that has really taken a toll on his perhaps identity. And you're actually made a good point, Sharaad, about perhaps the lack of awareness or conversation around geriatric depression. When people get older, they are perhaps more prone to falling into depression. Depression is common with the elderly. However, it is not a normal part of aging. So we should be talking about it.
Right. And so the question, and this is because it's an individual case, is what can be done? I would like to send a postcard, maybe a card to Pele, and to sort of tell him to keep his spirits up. But I think more importantly is that when we look at the situation back home, is what are the infrastructure that we have to aid with, say, elderly mobility?
Yes.
Are we building our ramps for our buildings? Are we creating and enabling their mobility, in Malaysia? And I think that perhaps is where we should start.
Well, also
after the postcard.
Well, on the note of the postcard, tomorrow is Valentine's Day, right? So perhaps you can give a hug to an elderly person at home or someone, with consent, of course.
Yes, I'll welcome any hug.
All right, that's all the time we have for you on Consider This. I'm Melisa, Idris, with me, Sharaad, Kuttan. We will be back tomorrow night at 10 p.m. We'll catch you then. Thank you for watching and good night.